always talk about it because, you know, the question that was asked me by, I think, Inessa was exactly about this, vertical position. And the vertical is this. Of course, this is a case that was a little, you know, just to show what was going on. Then you have mesial movement of premolars, mesial movement of the incisor, increasing overjet, anterior movement of the upper lip. So you remember in the case I showed you, we were checking the molar position, we were checking the overjet, and I told you, listen, you have this type of overjet not only because we lost but also because there is a rotation of the mandibular plane. So we know that this happened. Okay? And that happens not only with the implant, okay? Happens with everything that is done. Now, let's see what happens with this touch. Now, anteroposteriorly, we do have a distalization and we do have anchorage loss. So in other words, we have something that is good, that is blue, something that we don't like, that is red. That happens everywhere, every time? Yes, almost every time. But as you know, this is biology. Sometimes you can increase the red line, sometimes you can increase the blue line, but the mean is this one, 2/3 versus 1/3. So you have your distalization, and then you end up with this. So you have a little bit of blue also here, as I told you. And you have blue, all blue here. So more or less this is half, and this is what you get. Eh? Sì, sì. Dove vedete?
No, quelli definitivi.
Quale?
Quella prima.
Aspetta, te li do in ordine.
Scusami. Avanti.
Questa vuoi?
Avanti. Avanti c'è dare slide, no? Vai avanti. Sai che vuol dire? Grazie. Non ci sai?
Sì, che cosa?
Scusa.
Ok?
Grazie.
Ma te lo dobbiamo ricordare o
Ricordamelo sicuro.
non lo diamo per fatto?
No, ricordamelo sicuro. And that is exactly what happens here too, you know? You have something that is blue and you have something that is red. There used to be adjacent, and they now are your space is open. Space that is usually this goes class 2, and this goes toward class 1. Okay? This is something that we know. We know and we expect. Now, we know that we distalize, we know that we lose, and then we know that when we distalize in a line. Okay? Now, when you prepare a distal jet, you have to know, and you have to know immediately. And then the technician has to know it, otherwise it creates a big problem that you cannot be parallel to this line. Okay? You have to be prepared in a way that this tooth goes in. So you have to have 5 to 10 degrees inclination again in respect of the line. So what you do, you have this. This line should be 5 to 10 degrees toward the palate. Okay? In this way, this tooth goes within the bone, the cortical bone. Otherwise, it's going outside. Now, why am I showing you this? Who's the one that always talk about rickets? Gaia, you're talking about rickets. How rickets create anchorage? You remember? Rickets is creating anchorage, pushing the root against the cortex. Is that correct? Do you remember this? Okay. Now, if you don't do this, you create a very nice system to bring the root against the cortical. And if the root is against the cortical, you have anchorage, and you have a fantastic appliance to protrude the incisors. Yeah. Okay? So make sure that you understand this concept. Okay? If you want to use a distal jet, you have to understand that you have to be within the cortical bone.
From a clinical point of view, how we could control that we are.
You go here and you go here. They have to.
So we take a picture and we.
Yeah, no, you see them out. They have to converge, but you don't do it. You don't see them out. You see in the model when the model comes to you, you see it. If they are parallel.
That's at the beginning.
No, when the appliance comes to you,
Yeah, okay.
you don't have to.
During the
No. If this is not there, you don't have to put it in the mouth. You send it back. If this line is parallel to the cusp, you send the appliance back.
Okay.
Because it's you know that you are creating problems.
You cannot do nothing.
What? No. Okay. The problem that I really see on this appliance is that you cannot modify it. While the pendulum you can modify it, you see what's happening and you modify it. With this appliance, you cannot modify it. So you have to be prepared from the beginning. Again, it's not a smartphone that you can start using it without reading the instruction. If you use an appliance in the mouth, you have to know how it works. The problem with B, I give you an example. I never read the instruction on anything. So it takes me 6 months to understand everything. But you cannot do this in the mouth. You have to know it before. Okay? This is important. Okay? Go ahead. Somebody ask a question or what? Okay. Now, there is another thing that is very important to understand. And again, it is very, very important. The force. You have a telescopic appliance, okay? So the force should be the closest possible to the center of resistance. So the bayonet should be well done. If you do a bayonet like this or like this, I have seen it. You know what happened? So you move your force from the center of resistance. You are in a telescopic, so they cannot be adjusted. The tooth would like to rotate, and you lose anchorage in front. Again, so make sure that this is crucial. Make sure that this goes very close to the forcation. Otherwise, you create a system to lose anchorage. Now, this is very important. And that is the reason why technician that do distal jet is not sent, is not sold to all technicians. You have to do a course before, and then you can get it. Otherwise, they don't sell it to you. Because it's very easy to make mistakes. It's a very sophisticated appliance, and then it's an appliance that you cannot change. That is the reason, must be this the reason, or part of the reason why it's not so popular. Because, as usual, our colleagues like to go and say, take an impression, give me an appliance, without thinking. This is not for this type of colleagues. You have to think. You have to think, and you have to talk with the technician. And if the technician don't give you what you want, send it back. Now, you know what, how I solve this problem? Easy. All of you are using invisible aligner. All of you. Is the invisible aligner made in the lab close to your office?
No.
No. So, what I do, I make all my distal jet are made by Mauro Testa Lab. Easy.
No, test is not anymore.
Yeah, but the lab is working very well. They know how to do it.
So where they work?
In Torino. So, you know what is the difference? If my technician, which is a fantastic technician, by the way, you know Andreas very good, I have to receive something from my technician, it's very possible, actually it's almost certain, that he comes 1 hour, 30 minutes before the patient appointment. Always, always, always. You know, somebody's running with the appliance. Always like that. And his lab is 1.5 kilometers from my office. I sent this jet to Mauro Testa, they arrived 2 days before. With a courier, they arrived two days before. I send it everything up. I write, the patient has the appointment June 15. You are sure that June 13 or June 12, you have the appointment same. Don't ask me why. Don't ask me why, but it's like that. Andrea, 30 minutes before. No. The guy on the other side of the world, 2 or 3 days before.
Il paziente master un'oretta dopo.
No, it's maybe, but it's like that. I don't understand why, but it's like that.
So
Why, if you are close to me, you wait until the very last moment? Why? And I'm sure that if he is doing something for somebody outside, he's sending precisely 2 or 3 days before. I'm sure. So, it's a sophisticated appliance. You have to know how to deal with it. Why should I make with a guy that is always running in the very last minute?
So Mauro, excuse me.
And I'm sorry, and I am pretty sure that is not Andrea. Andrea is a fantastic guy. I'm sure that every lab that is close to your office is doing like that. I'm sure.
Did you prefer to use distal gel instead than balloon?
Do I prefer to do what?
Distal gel.
Yes. I do. I'm not so good. You know, in order to use pendulum, you have to work more and to have very good on doing all the
Yeah, but
adjustments.
try to say that even if you are very good with the laboratory is very good doing with the distal jet appliance, you have a significantly bigger amount of anterior anchorage loss.
Why?
It's just literature like that.
Who said so?
Frankie, Lorenzo. Frankie.
Because Lorenzo.
In the article
Never-
you showed.
Yeah, Lorenzo never used a distal jet.
No, in the article you showed before,
Yeah.
they also say that you have more anchorage loss.
Yeah, sure. It is correct. But also, I'm going to show that all the anchorage lost now. And we're going to show that together. But, first of all, it's not Lorenzo cases, I know. And I know it because he doesn't do it. He doesn't use it. Lorenzo, I was close to tell you that, but that is not nice. I know Lorenzo and McNamara never used the distal jet. They got some sample from Q, from Boston. And I don't think it was a good sample. That is my personal opinion. But if you don't use an appliance, how can you say that it's like that? I don't know. But what you were referring to is probably this one. Okay. And where is Q? No, it's not Q. Here it is, Q. And here is percentage of molar distalization, the percent of anchorage loss. Is that, instead of using only Q, I use all the people that were doing art on this. Okay? Now, so what would you say about this guy here? He's using a pendulum.
You have an anchorage loss, but not so big as in distant jet.
This guy here. Look at this guy here. He's using a distal. Distalization is 3 millimeter against the anchorage loss of 6. Do you think that he is using the appliance in the correct way?
It's 3.8 and 6.2, or it's
This guy, the same Q that was working with the Frankie, is published a paper with 85% of distalization and 15% of anchorage loss. So, when somebody out of one paper is telling you something like that, you say, maybe it's one paper. No? Check out all of this. Check all of this. Check all of this. So there are different papers, different results. You cannot take from one paper what you think is, because, believe me, Lorenzo is a fantastic researcher. I love him. I have a great relationship with him, but I don't think it's correct in saying so. So more or less, if you check the numbers, and I did check the number, and I put all together, more or less, you came out with 1/3 against 2/3. So this is what you find in the literature. So you go from anchorage loss 62 to anchorage loss 15. Let's put this way. I don't trust 15, but I don't trust 62 either. So it must be something right in the middle. I would say that 33 is probably 1/3 is probably the right. Not coming from one article, coming from all the articles that did this. I think it's more clear. And I think Lorenzo, and I tell you, Lorenzo, I love Lorenzo. I asked, every single time I ask him to come to the Anglo Society. I really like him. I don't like McNamara. I think he's a liar. But Lorenzo is a fantastic guy. But every single time you find something on McNamara, think the opposite.
No.
Do you have the same table about pendulum?
No, obviously, no. You want,
No.
but you see,
Sì, sì.
you can calculate. You go here, you can calculate. So you can calculate it, and you end up exactly with the same 33. Now, let's talk about absolute anchorage. Now, I want to show you this because I want you not to have this mistake, not to make this mistake. Okay? It's very important. And the mistake comes from a wrong way of thinking. Now, these people, at the beginning of this century, were working using my mind is gone. I'm getting really old.
Osseointegrated.
We were using osseointegrate implants, okay? They were using osseointegrate implants. And that is something that you have to realize. Something that is very important that you realize. Osseointegrate implants are not tags. Many people make this mistake. Osseointegrate implants are not tags. They're not
Ma rispetto a Aldo il figlio, cioè il nipote o il babbo?
Aldo,
Sì.
Aldo è il
Cioè, quello
figlio
giovane
di
e quello
qualcuno.
vecchio. È quello giovane e quello vecchio. Ci sono due Giancotti, no?
Ah no,
Universitari.
ok. Franco è
Franco
è lo zio
è
di
lo
Aldo.
zio. Ah, ok.
Questo invece è molto più simpatico perché è il fratello di
Emanuele.
Now, I want to make really clear the difference. So, if you use an osseointegrated implant, and this is from my good friend Aldo Giancotti that gave me all the slides, this is not mine.
Quindi,
And every single time you see something that is not mine is written. Now, what you do, you have to do all these procedure and get the implant in and wait for osseointegration. Okay? Is that clear? So, think about it. If patients come to you and you tell him or his mother that he needs to have a distalization. Then you tell, I'm gonna do something to distalize you without losing anchorage. So what are we gonna do? Oh, we're gonna make a small piercing in the path of your son. But, you know, after we make this operation, it takes 6 months until we can start. Did I say something wrong? How long does it take the osseointegration in the maxilla? You wanna wait 3-4 months, not 6. 4. Okay, 4 months. You know, we're gonna do this. Your son is it? 4 months. I go to the other doctor. It starts tomorrow.
no, but in particular, after the treatment, something is gonna stay there.
But that is not a big deal. You can convince patients, you know, now everybody has piercings everywhere. So you say, there's a piercing, I'm gonna leave it in there, but don't worry. But when you have this type of anchorage, you have to realize that you can distalize very easily and you don't see anything. Okay? Easy. And you stop when you have the first molar, the first premolar in class 1. Now, before I change these lights, I want to drive your attention to this area. Do you see something? Do you see something on the canal, from canine to canine?
Still low anchorage.
Low anchorage,
No.
no?
Little bit, yes.
No.
There's a line.
Or aligning.
Ah, exactly.
Alignment.
Chi?
Alignment.
Ah,
Please, check the first premolar. in the lateral view, what is the first premolar before and what is the after?
It's
More aligned.
it's wider.
Is it class 1
Yeah.
on the right side? Please check the position of the canine.
Plus one on the
Okay.
right.
No.
No,
Plus one on the right and plus two on the left.
So you understand that something is happening in all the arch.
Mm.
Is that clear? Everything, something is happening in all the arch. If you don't touch the key, something is happening in all the arch. Now, keep that in your mind. And this is the day when you take the appliance out, the implants out.
Alan,
Oops.
This is my friend Jonathan Sanders, not me.
With a hole in the palate.
You know, if the implant is osteointegrated, there's no other way. You have to do something we call carottage. How do you say that in English? I don't know. And it comes out with some bone on it, for sure. Okay? And you have
Oh my
a
God.
4 millimeter hole. Okay? So you do understand that this system, it was a fantastic way of maintaining anchorage, but it was not so popular. It didn't become popular at all. And I wonder why. I really wonder why. Now, get this picture in your mouth, in your So I want this picture to be in your head, okay? Because this is the problem. They started this way, they did start this way, and they think or thought that the tats were equal to the osseointegrated implant. And they were not, of course. So what are the disadvantages of the osseointegrated implant? How much does in osseointegrated implant cost? I have no idea. How much is the cost? What? How much?
100.
I have no idea. How much do you charge the patient for this? So you have the osseointegrated, you have the operation. How much you charge? 400, 500? At least. Yeah. More.
1,000.
No, but if you put in the
More than
pallet,
1,000,
if you put in the pallet,
No, but that's
You are
what
expensive.
if you put in the pallet, how much do you charge?
never.
Okay, but you have to charge. Then the patient said, I put the implant. You wait 4 months, and then we start treatment, and then you have also to pay more. It didn't work out. Indication not too many implant sites, palate and distal to the second molar and lower arch. Period. No other place. Design is complex and is also large because usually the smallest, if they find, now they have mini implants, but they are at least 2.5 millimeters. Usually it's 3 to 4 millimeters wide. It's not easy to put it in, and it's definitely not easy to take out. And then, as I told you, following Elios rule 4 months, but usually, if you want to be very sure, it's even 6 months. So you have to wait. So it just didn't come out. This is something that wrote, these are limitations that I took from Birgit Thielander. Now, people now started to use tats. And they were using tats exactly in the same way they were using osseointegrated implants. Just did not work. It just did not work. Didn't work at all. If I were the referee of the ankle orthodontist for this case, I would never allow somebody to say supported upper molar distalization as this type of anchorage loss. So that was really a period where people were thinking that they could use the TAS as in the osseointegrate implant. When you see this, is exactly what I do have with the normal appliance. Not even to talk about this one, that it takes I don't know how many steps in the lab. When we sent the paper that you were reviewing, you remember the paper, Implant Distal Jet? It was very embarrassing because I received a call from Bob Kine. I said, Mauro, I know what to do. I received two days ago a paper from Jay Bowman talking about the same thing. So, do you mind to wait 2 or 3 months until we publish yours, because it's very interesting, but we cannot publish all the paper together. I say, guys, no problem at all. But I think, again, that this is something that should not be done. You know, I'm talking about Jay. Jay is a very good friend of mine. But this is something that doesn't make any sense. Because this is not a osseointegrate implant. And if you use only this, if you rely only on screw for the anchorage, you are making a mistake. And it's very clear that you are making a mistake, because when you start from here and you end up here, you're losing anchorage. There's no way that you. This is anchorage loss. This is anchorage loss, in my opinion. So that means that they just don't work. They just don't work. If you work only with mini screws, they don't work. In the palate, because it's a completely different ballgame. So we started to think that instead of relying only on the necks, or relying only on the mini screw, we can put them together and have belt and suspender. So, since my friend Aldo invented this mass,